Hey, yo, what up? This is probably the most difficult video that I have to make. When I say have to, Donald isn't going to talk about this topic, and it's a huge part of the history of the cloning centers, and it's the Illuminati's child pornography and child snuff film industry. It's not easy to talk about sexual abuse and child trafficking. It's not easy to talk about abuse when it's happened to, one's self. But it's even more difficult to talk about the abuse of countless numbers of children. And that's something that is part of the Hollywood system, which runs the entire world. The Illuminati is all of the governments of the world, all of the politicians are actors. It's a nightmare, it really is. So I want to begin by saying that the studios, the child pornography studios that I'm telling you about, they have been shut down. However, it took a big effort from the good people within the Illuminati to stand up and form a resistance against it. To stand up and to say enough is enough when it comes to abusing children for this industry. It's been really awful. Back in the early 90s, I just want to clarify, I was not born on March 8th, 1990. I was born on April 14th of 1992. Back in the early 90s, I remember there being a child pornography studio at the Cloning Center in Canada. It was called Mr. Pickles Circus, and it was a circus-themed pornography studio. However, they filmed other child pornography and snuff films there that weren't exactly circus-related, but that was the main theme of this place for a long time. When I was very, very young, the Illuminati came to me and said, you need to come up with a new idea for the child snuff film industry for us. And so they told me that they were going to have an isolated facility in Texas, and they needed a fresh idea for this studio. And so I was forced to come up with the idea for Uncle Sam's Snuff Factory. I was also in charge of coming up with the theme of using historical scenarios and putting kids in different costumes, and then training children who were clones and children who were also trafficked to perform certain acts. You may know who Katie Groves is. I have met and interacted with Katie Groves at Uncle Sam's Snuff Factory. The stories and her testimonies that she tells on her channel are absolutely true. However, I don't know her personally by the name of Katie Groves. I know her by another name, Jenna. And that's all that I'm gonna say about that for now. There's a lot more to be said regarding Katie Groves, aka Jenna. However, I know who Katie Groves is. I send her so much healing energy. I hope that she's safe, and I thank her so much for having the courage to speak out and to tell her testimony, because a long time ago, we were speaking together at cloning about what would happen when I went through my awakening, and she said, I'll have videos up, Carly, to help you, to not feel so alone, and to also try to help you remember the horrors of the child snuff industry, because we were both forced to participate. We were both forced to do things that were just awful. Not only to other kids, but to train other kids to do really horrible things for this child pornography industry. And you might ask, well, why didn't you just say no? Because the Illuminati threatened to torture and kill me, not only in my clone body, but in my anchor body, my real family, and everything like that. So, threats of torture can feel very, very, very overwhelming. And especially when you're in a trapped situation, such as being an Illuminati slave. Now, Donald isn't going to talk about this, but he was a victim to having to participate in Mr. Pickles' circus ever since he was a child at the cloning centers. And he was forced to participate in these acts and these films up until his teen years, actually. And there was a point when I was maybe about, I think, 7, maybe the age of 7, the Illuminati took me aside into this room where they had a movie projector up. And they played for me a montage of all of these child pornography and child snuff films that they forced Donald to participate in all throughout his life. And he sat behind me at the back of the room during this, when the Illuminati people made me watch this video montage. And I just remember feeling like shocked and angry, because I didn't know that he had to partake in it. However, I was shocked and angry that he still continued to into his teen years. And I was very upset with him. And I asked him, why don't you just stop? Why don't we just put an end to this torture? Why can't we just all together say enough is enough? You can torture us all you want, you can do anything you want to us, however, we're not going to participate anymore. And that was sort of the turning point for Donald to help me to take a stand against what the Illuminati had been forcing us to do. And this is a really, really, these are just really awful memories, and it sucks, because I know that there was a lot of kids who were kidnapped and trafficked from other countries, kids who didn't speak English, and they're very vulnerable to the whole child trafficking industry. So my heart mourns for them. And I think that speaking out about what the Illuminati has done, it doesn't serve any justice for those who have been killed and murdered in horrific ways. but it only just gives a slight bit of justice to them. It will never ever be enough. There will be never enough like light and truth and testimony to ever, you know, justify any of this or bring them back or anything like that. But after I was after I talked with Donald when I was a kid about what we should do in the plan to try to end all of the child snuff films and the whole industry within the Illuminati, because I mean we can't control the fringe industries like communities of expats in other countries. It's more difficult to control that. However, you can try to make an influence and make a change on the things that you are forced to work directly with. You know what I'm saying? So we sort of brought this to the attention of the other slaves and other ghostwriters and other celebrities who are against abusing kids and who are against this whole awful industry, all of the child trafficking and exploitation. And it worked. It really did. And people took a vow to say no if the Illuminati tried to get them to participate in any of this, to accept any torture, even death, in the face of being threatened. And we won. The Illuminati was really, really pissed at all of us at first for saying no and putting our foot down when it comes to all of this shit and abuse. However, even just one incident of children being trafficked and exploited is too much. It really is. And it makes me sad to know that there are really sick people who still make child snuff films and child pornography. However, I don't know where every single studio for this is. I only know of the Mr. Pickles Circus, which was at the Canadian Cloning Center. Like, as soon as you walked out the doors of the, like, bookcases of bodies and the cloning tube area and then the wardrobe and, like, medical and the computer area, walk straight out the double doors, and then over to your left-hand side was the child pornography studio area. However, we successfully shut that down at the Canadian one, and then after that, Uncle Sam's Snuff Factory eventually got shut down in Texas. I hope that I can, meet Jenna, aka Katie Groves, in person someday. I have never met her in my anchor body. We have only interacted in clone bodies, but it's our consciousness. And there's so much more to the story between me and Jenna. There's a lot, but I think I would rather just leave that to be a separate video for another day. And like Donald said in the comments section of my previous video, he's done talking about cloning, so that's why I know that he'll never talk about the child pornography industry and all of the horrible things that the Illuminati forced us to do as kids. And yeah, it's pretty bad. It's even worse than bad. But I mean, I have to look at the positive. At least these two studios don't exist anymore. At least we're still alive to tell the story about it. Well, at least, you know, me and Katie Groves are. Donald isn't going to talk about it, but yeah, just MK Ultra is really pure evil. By the way, if you're new and you haven't been following me for very long, there's a channel called MK Ultra is Pure Evil, and they were so kind to archive my early videos from the very beginning of my awakening, which began in August of last year, and I waited about a month and a half to just feel like safe enough and in the right mindset to actually like make videos, stick my neck out and, you know, call some of my family members out for their abuse through their Masonic rituals. And yeah, I thank God every day for the good things that have happened in my life, and the good people who I've encountered, and the people who love me, and the people who support what I'm doing, which is speaking out. However, there are days where it's pretty rough. There are days where I'll try to make a video about this topic, but I'll just break down crying like this. However, it's important for this to be out there and known. So, as always, thank you for watching. I've never been paid by the Illuminati. They like to keep the ghostwriters impoverished. They like to keep us isolated. So I thank everyone who has the kindness and the gratitude to, you know, give me a small donation to my GoFundMe. Or you can purchase something that I've made by hand on eBay. I appreciate you greatly, because I cannot work in public. It's not safe at all. I have a lot of surveillance on me right now. However, it's not going to stop someone from attacking me. Like, I have to work from home at this point. Other than that, I have a lot more to talk about still. I'm still going to continue to make videos, so stay tuned. I love you all. Peace out. God bless.